Okay. And before we get started, there's so much going on. I couldn't get to everything I wanted to get to last weekend. So I would like to do a quick round, find out what's been happening. I know there have been things like, I know you've been doing something. And so let's do a quick round. We'll start with folks in the room. Tahisha, you got any updates of events and things that you've been doing? One thing good? You want to let's celebrate?
I went to a yoga retreat this weekend that was held by local people, Yoga Venture out at Wilderness Adventure.
Yeah.
And finally got to meet and chat a bit with Antonio Stovall, who's doing good things in the community.
I knew he was out there.
Yeah, very representing, so hopefully we'll get to engage a bit more.
Excellent. And he's working with us on the catalog as a facilitator, so you'll probably get requested for something that he'll be helping to set up and.
No.
Yeah, you never know. It's great.
I just got back from the Little River Poetry Festival in Floyd, and it was magical as it always is. This was my third year going. I gave my first curated reading ever, and it went really well. It was like me reading for 30 minutes. I was like, oh no, that's so long, I don't have enough stuff. And then I actually had to like hold stuff down. I think I went over my time a little bit, but I also gave a workshop with another writer that I've been working with, and it was kind of just off the cuff. We didn't really have a huge plan, but it went really well. People were really engaged. It was super fun. And I feel grounded now. It was really good.
Fantastic. What was the title of your workshop?
It actually didn't have a title, but after the fact, I would have called it Tarot as a Bridge. So it was a collaborative workshop. We paired people up and gave each of them one tarot card, like they each drew a tarot card. And then they each wrote for like 5 minutes and then traded and finished each other's pieces.
Oh, great.
And yeah, it was really
Nice
fun.
little
And
prompt.
like a lot of good stuff came out of it. It was really cool.
Excellent. All right, we're gonna hop to online and let's see, let's start with Polly. Polly, something you want to celebrate that you've been.
Yeah, so let me see. I have had a lot going on. My friend Cindy, she just got the hard printed copy of a book we put together. Like today, I guess she got it in the mail. So I have to go see the book, the finished book. And I think she's gonna read some story about related to it at Hoot and Holler coming up on the 12th, I believe is what she said. So that's been exciting. And then I've just been dreaming big and hitting research hard, trying to figure out how to do the things I'm dreaming about.
Excellent. That's a great space to be in. And then we'll go from a Molly to a Polly.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I had a great time at the Hope Center block party and encouraging the Beat Goes On with Linda Macchia to have a drum circle there and engage people, and definitely enjoyed seeing a couple of the people who came up to dance and weren't expecting it to be there, and you could tell they were laying it all out on the pavement, and that was really cool. And enjoyed seeing Jane doing her stepping stones for the Kiwanis Club, and the Heat Resilience group who working with different communities and doing a lot of the modeling that we're wanting to do here as well. And yeah, there's just so much going on. Had a long conversation with Misty Dawn, and so part of that was the need to get together more often with people to brainstorm and share and critique art. And so anyway, yeah, I oftentimes leave these Tuesday night meetings wanting another hour or two.
Yeah,
that's good. Enthusiasm.
Great. Let's find some fun informal spaces and keep this going in various forms. Yeah. Katie.
Hey everybody, celebrating. We had a really great grief ritual this past weekend, Saturday, Sunday. We had 13 folks attend. And it was really, really beautiful. My mentor Damaris Crystal led it, and I was able to also learn different ways of ending grief in communities and ways of hosting those types of events. Yeah, just a really great space for us to create openings for the undercurrents of some of the harder parts of existence to come forward. Am I frozen?
No, you're great. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You might not have heard me. I said, thank you for putting your energy into that for the community. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks for repeating that. I didn't hear you.
And Katrina, if you're able to talk.
Hey everybody. Katrina here. I just left a meeting with a couple of artists to try and figure out some ideas for the Melrose Plaza mural, and hopefully partnering with some artists in the community to do that, and just preparing for the mural. I'm trying to get this together over here. But yeah, I'm just trying to get out of my comfort zone and just get confident in what I can do. You know, I feel like I can be very hard on myself when it comes to art and creating, but I am really challenging myself to step outside of that, you know, and just do it. So that's where I am.
Excellent. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're putting something together for that Melrose Plaza project. And I hope you can, rely on some of the folks in this space, to help, thinking through things and doing it in a way that's supportive and getting good, solid kind of feedback and thinking. So I'm glad you've got some partners out there in the community.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And then Catherine Devine.
Here I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. So I want to start out by thanking Katrina for helping me with my last artist roundtable meetup at the collab, for helping just making it work, meeting the people at the door when we had to go inside, and Rachel Ann for coming. So we wrapped that up last night, and Jefferson Rose came and shared a little bit about the upcoming workshop that he's planning for street performers, buskers. So it all, and I feel like that's another experience. It just seems like we don't want to end. It just feels like we started really getting into a nice sense of knowing people, sitting around a table, being able to look people in the eye and getting to chat more intimately about our projects and dreams and overlapping interests. So anyhow, that was Monday. So I'm really grateful that that project is kind of wrapping up. And in the same way, I'm kind of sad that it's over too.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. I know those have gone really well. I've heard a lot of comments from people. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And then Joy.
Hello. Like Tahita, I spent my weekend at the Yoga Venture Festival and had a really beautiful time, and also connected with Antonio there and got to sing kirtan for everyone. So yeah. Yeah.
Great. Excellent. And Susie.
I have one project that I'm plugging away with the play script that we are currently trying to find a home for, and we're a little bit closer. We're exploring opportunities with the Dumas Center right now, and we're also making lists of community partners and getting letters drafted. It's more of like a logistics work on my end, which actually feels really nice. But I also just want to say that I really enjoyed the Sidewalk Art Festival this past weekend. I met a screen printer who also runs a farm, and I got some screen prints of bell peppers that she was making, and they're really, really beautiful. And I just really loved that this past weekend and seeing all the artwork up. So those are my big things.
I was able to run past in between events for maybe about an hour on Saturday. And it just seemed like a spectacular event this year. But you know what? I usually take a vacation this week. So I haven't been in the last number of years. So maybe it's always that spectacular, but it was a lovely day. Yeah. Yeah. Just the energy and the vibe of people. Great. Yeah. And then, let's see, Mr. Magoo.
Yeah, well, I survived another sidewalk art show.
Yeah.
I find it hard to set the tent up every year.
Yeah,
But,
you were busy with somebody when I walked past. Yeah. Looked like
yeah,
it was going on.
it's kind of funny for me because I can enjoy it because it's a non-competitive event for me because I'm not allowed to compete because my wife works at the museum. So it's mostly, I mean, I get to sell stuff, but it's a meet and greet for all like past students, past people I've worked with, past customers, people with, past commissions, people that might want stuff, might want to take classes. It's amazing how many people I know. It's like, how did I get to know all these people? And the thing I found most fascinating actually was while I was sitting there during the day, I would see people go by, or they'd be on the opposite side of the street or down the block. And all I would see was the back of them. And by their hair and the way they stood, I could always tell who it was. It was the most amazing thing. I mean, body gesture is so important in your identity. You never really think about that much. When you look in the mirror, you're always trying to, I don't know, look a certain way. But when you stand and walk and stuff, everybody's different.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed our 5-minute portrait artist, Laura Wahlberg, the posture is very important in the work that she does. And she was out at Gainsborough doing that. And I know she was out at on 11th Street recently too, doing that. Well, yeah, well, congratulations on another sidewalk art show, right? And Corey.
I'm making a big sign. I'm gonna try to show you. It's hold on, let's see. So there's this thing in Rocky Mount called the Cruise In where people have old cars that have been restored and they just do that all through the summer. And there's a record shop up there called Old School. And I've got this hot rod guy and he's gonna be mounted to a sandwich board, and on the speech bubble, it's gonna say cruise on in.
And it's going to be a sandwich board that sits on the street.
Yeah,
do you
there's
wear?
another one. So I have to make 2 identical signs. The other one's sitting over there, and I've got to finish the lettering tonight and hopefully get it all done and take it up there tomorrow.
Oh, it's going to be late night for you, I bet, isn't it? But
Yeah.
you're used to those, huh? Well, that's great. And then, did you have a client for that, or are you involved with the record store?
I just like the store, and I've been in there a lot, and the guy who owns it has got me to do a couple things for his shop. So that's just another of hopefully some continuing projects because he's got a lot of just everything in there is really cool. Like it's mostly 70s and 80s records and toys and t-shirts and just that kind of retro vibe. So that's right up my alley.
Great. Excellent. Well, I'll next time I'm passing through there, I will stop at that store and look for some of your work.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, tonight we're focusing on one of our artists in residence, Jane Gabrielle McCadden. And Mac, before we do that, let me ask you for something that's been happening, because you've been out there too. I don't want to forget anybody.
Oh, you didn't forget me. I watched my wife load and unload the truck, and I try to get to some of her things, and I have to tell you that I'm amazed at what your group has done, Doug. I'm so pleased with every one of you, and it makes her happy, so therefore it makes me happy. And I want to tell you how much good the work that you all have done has done for our community. I am extremely proud of that. And I maybe don't say it enough to her so she doesn't get mad at me. So I want to let you know that I notice, and people are taking notice of what you all are doing. and people are appreciative of it. And I think it makes our community a much stronger community. And I thank you for it.
Well, I want to echo that too, and thank you for those comments, Mac. I am so proud of everybody involved in this effort. It's just, we're just getting started, I feel, and it's so many efforts, and everybody's being kind of their real self and drawing on their talents. And I agree. I hear it from people in the community, and I think tonight, hearing from Jane, I think this is going to be a terrific conversation starter. I do want to have some conversation after we hear a little bit from Jane on her path. And I say a little bit, that's the main thing we're doing tonight. So feel free to take as much time as you need. But I've really been looking forward to this, Jane. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. If you could just help me out here, because I don't present that often, and I'm just wondering, can you see me or just my screen?
Both.
We can see
okay.
both.
I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. And so some of these slides I'm going to go through kind of quickly because you guys have seen them or seen the projects, and I don't feel like I need to elaborate. But if someone needs me to, please speak up because I can always go back. So, help wanted, apply within, sign Mother Earth. Echo spiritual approach to socially engaged art. And why is that there? I don't know. Why is that there? Okay. So, what the heck is echo spiritual activism? It's a practice that brings together the otherworldly and inward focused work of spirituality and the outwardly focused work of activism in service to the earth. So, inward focused and outward focused are two big pieces of the puzzle that is me. Does that mean you're a tree hugger? It's become my quest to fine-tune my artistic endeavors in vibration with care of the earth. So this presentation documents a portfolio that engages socially with public art, that encourages sustainability in the environment and personal commitment to spiritual and cultural transformation. It's about leading with humanity. So my studies have made me absolutely sure that earth care includes social, economic, environmental justice, and equity for human and non-human beings of the planet. So this is Pokelanoo's 5 steps of decolonization. And I bring it up because Goddard College used this as sort of a guidance system for the BFA SEA. Their description is that they use this as a framework for this program. The steps provide students tools to take imaginative and responsible action in the world that are critically conscious of the legacy and perpetuation of colonial conquest. Pokelanoo is a general consultant on law, human rights, culture, Hawaiian sovereignty, and international affairs. His real name, well, not his real name, but his other name is Hayden Burgess, but he goes by his Hawaiian name. So I also use this when I'm attacking any project. I feel like stepping back and doing the rediscovery, the remembrance of things that have happened in the past, discovering your personal list of disturbing things, including physical, mental, and spiritual aspects. An example of this would be looking at the history of urban renewal before you start working in a community, right? Mourning is a social process. Some people like to avoid anger and grief, but uncovering emotions is crucial to the healing process. Dreaming is my favorite part. Through my life, people have said in a derogatory way, well, Jane's a dreamer. On every report card I ever got, she's a dreamer. And I'm like, look at me, I am a dreamer. I am absolutely a dreamer. So this explores the human impulse to move towards freedom. Commitment, of course, is just deciding what the intention of your dreams are and the dreams of the community, and working together to make that happen. And action is the steps that you take to make meaningful change, so you can change the world from within. I also used, during my explorations, I used this 4-part song that I wrote on my 30th birthday on Assateague Island, where I went to the ocean, the sky, the forest, and the mountain asking for wisdom and answers. And I sort of used that also as a nature guiding system as I went through my studies. Part of my practice is recharging in nature. Like when I have a really intense period of work, I need to go out to the woods for a while, or to the sea, or to the mountains, or the trees. It recharges my battery. So it gets down to beloved community. This was Dr. Martin Luther King's Jr. vision for living in a society pillared by economic and social justice, equity, and love. He envisioned that systemic racism, inequity, poverty, and injustice would be replaced by inclusive sister and brotherhood. So these are just some quotes that kind of guide me, that I like to go back to again and again. Bell hooks. If you want a beloved community, we must stand for justice, have recognition for difference without attaching privilege to difference. So this quote that I came upon also during my reading is what fine-tuned and zeroed in what my practice is, right? This author says that he used to think that environmental problems could be changed by good science, and he says, I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. And to deal with these, we need a cultural and spiritual transformation. And we scientists don't know how to do that. And I say, we artists, we can do that. I believe we can do that. So I started crafting, my artist statement, zeroing in on what it is I do, right? I want to make art that makes people want to make that spiritual pivot to caring about the earth, which includes their community. Separation between humankind and nature is an illusion. Separation between this life and spirit is an illusion. As above, so below. So below, as above. Overall, know thyself. And this is something that Antonio touched on in his talk a couple weeks ago, but that is so true. My work at Goddard was about, they push you, guide you to find authentically who you are and to embody it and to find your voice. So the first part was a journey inward to understand who I was. I went to Goddard with all kinds of wild ideas. I was going to do a children's book on that song that I told you about, but I was going to use this Native American character, and they actually let me do it. And then they're like, but you can't do this because that's not who you are. You're not Native American. But I'm like, I'm 1%. And they're like, but that's not who you are. In the most gentle way, right? Like, go back, find who you are. Like, okay. So I went right for the headlights, dealing with family trauma. One of my professors, the fabulous Amber McZeal, said in a lecture one day, the dead can change, right? And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, the way you honor the dead, the way you treat the dead changes your relationship with them. And I thought, nah, that's crazy. Other questions: am I worthy to receive wisdom from the earth? Considering the reverberations of my Catholic upbringing and inherent culpability in the legacy of systems of oppression condoned by Catholicism, Christianity, my city, state, and country. To say that I had a troubled relationship with my dad is an understatement. Going deep and learning where his pain, rage, and violence came from helped me to heal our relationship. Didn't change the pain, but it changed how I interpreted it. The work involved long sessions of phone calls with my mom during COVID when we were unable to go on our beach trips. She and I had these meandering talks, and she shared memories and some secrets. She was deeply interested in the work that I was doing at Goddard, and I read her papers and I read her feedback from professors, and she was immersed in it, and we learned a lot about our history together. When she spilled the beans, and my mother was a person who did not like to speak about any kind of sexual content whatsoever, ever, you know. But I found this picture of my dad's mother, who in this picture is on the left in the yellow. And we'd never seen a picture of her, and or ever met her. And mom's like, she sexually abused your dad. And I'm like, what? I practically busted out in like crazy, mad, hysterical laughing because I'm like, it was an Oedipus complex. That's what all this was about, all this craziness. So I did a paper on that, on what it does to particularly a man in that situation that endures that kind of abuse. And my eyes were really open that he was in pain. He was hurt, and it had nothing to do with me. And that was life changing. So my heart softened to ancestors who caused me pain. I understood my father's childhood trauma, empathized with my mom's dysfunction, able to crawl out beneath my father's demands. My empathy grew for other people's stories and traumas. That was so huge. I was so much more ready to receive and hear what people were saying, and asking questions about their stories. This included a deep dive and a paper on urban renewal in Roanoke, and now I can better understand the roots of my segregated city. I strengthened my observations in the natural world, and I began to inquire. In the gentlest voice, I know what happened, aware of things I didn't know, and without an agenda. There were joyful explorations as well. My mother's side of the family were the ones that we knew. This is my pop, my mom's dad at the top, and he died when I was 4 years old, but I still adore him. He's like the male figure that I love, and he was a wonderful musician. This is his brother below him, Uncle Phil, and mom just filled our life with stories about these people. I felt like I knew Uncle Phil, though I never met him. So I took Pop's mandolin, which is in this picture, and I used a 1948 Maryland license plate on one side and our old Radar Rose license plate on the other as wings. And I imagine that this is an angel radio, right? And that at night, when the air is really kind of slow and the airwaves really travel, I can tune my grandfather in and hear him.
This will be a test run. Determine the fluency with which I have present returning again on another page. Far away among the clover and the bee, from there I spent life's golden hour, running wild among the flowers. In my home happy
I'll just give you a little taste of that. These are all on my YouTube channel at Jane Gabrielle, but basically I had this 6-minute recording that was left in an old tape recorder that I found when I was 12 of my grandfather talking and playing mandolin and singing with my mom and my aunt. And I put it away because I knew if I played it, it would get destroyed, you know. And I just had it digitized a couple summers ago and rearranged his words. So he says that bit in the beginning about returning again. So that's kind of cool. And then Uncle Phil, he made a record in 1948.
Amigo mío. I dedicate. Yo tengo una linda cabaña. Te espero solamente por ti. De tierra.
Anyways, you guys, if you're interested, can explore that on your own. I also made a film as my own maternal Czech ancestor in the Anima Society before Christianity, celebrating a ritual whereas the women in town made a effigy of a woman who was supposed to be Morana, the witch or goddess of winter, and burning her in the spring to bring about Vesna, the goddess of spring. But this was just such a joyous blast, just to really embody like what my background actually is. And so I really enjoyed doing it. Breaking down illusions. So I knew I was Czech on mom's side. I was born in Baltimore and therefore not Southern. This is something my mother drilled in my head. We're not Southern. Didn't know much about dad's family, except maybe there was a indigenous grandmother. And I just assumed that everybody came here after the Civil War, like my mom's family. This is my great grandma, Shima, and I actually knew her. She didn't die till 1989. So turns out my paternal side is dug into this country's history like an Alabama tick. I'm intrinsically woven into the fabric of the American experiment. I have blood on my roots. Christopher Costello came to Virginia in 1740 as an indentured servant from Ireland. Upon serving his debt, he is granted 50 acres of Mattaponi land in King William County. He marries into the Mattaponi, thus my Indian blood. Curiously, the name Costello is still in the Mattaponi tribe today. So that's just, I haven't actually found what the whole lineage is there because the records aren't all that great. The Hickses came to Virginia in 1732 and then settled in North Carolina. 3 Hicks brothers returning from the Mexican-American War received land grants in East Tennessee, Appalachia, for their service. These were Cherokee lands. So this severed a bunch of illusions. Pretty freaking Southern, and holy crap, also sort of Appalachia as well, right? So I have found inspecting your privilege opens your eyes to radical empathy. This is a transom from my great grandma Shima's house in Baltimore. And they bought it in 1912 for $843. And 3 generations lived there. My grandfather also had a house. So when my mom was ready to start a family, she was able to move to this other free house, and start to raise her family while dad went to school. And so I brought this transom to city council one night to demonstrate the privilege that I have from these houses being in my family, and imagining how my life would be different if we were swept away by urban renewal and lost those properties. So my grandmother lived there until 1989 when she sold it and got cash for it. Not very much, but nevertheless, it served the family for all those years where she was able to build generational wealth. There is a calm that comes from accepting culpability in an inequitable past. You stop trying to deflect it, right? There was a time when I was one of those, the Civil War was about states' rights girl, because that was the programming I got from school. But I also know having that viewpoint makes you constantly deflecting because it's false, right? So once you accept that you're culpable, you're woven into this I've not found any slavery in my background as yet. They mostly seem to be farmers, orchard workers, farm workers, mom's side's musicians and tailors, but that doesn't mean that I'm not woven into racist systems, right? So this is what I'm saying. It makes it easy to carry the yoke with fellow humans to right the wrongs of the past. And I love this quote. If you've come here to help me, you're wasting your time. But if you've come because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. And that's the place that I've come to, with a great calm and acceptance and joy, right? Okay, go. Had to look into my religion. I struggle with a regular physical practice, yoga or anything. I struggle with Catholicism. I love the wings and the halos and the stained glass and, the ritual and all that, but they're horrible. They've been horrible. And I've just sort of turned my back on it. I joined Rays because they seem to be doing some environmental work. But I came upon something in Catholicism that I could wrap my head around. Pope Francis wrote Laudato Si on Care of Our Common Home in 2014. And basically, I've lost my notes. God created the world and trusted it as a gift. Now we have the responsibility to care for and protect it and all people who are part of creation. He breaks it down into these 7 categories, which I absolutely love. It couldn't be laid out better than that. If anybody wants more information on it, again, I'm using this as a guidance system. It's godsplanet.us. But it's really, really good. And there's some grant money available in different things to do projects. And they actually backed one of mine, which was kind of shocking to me. This one, Help Wanted to Fly Within. And so I got a Mary Knoll Sisters grant to do this one a couple of years ago. And it was to print these signs and then put them in gardens, churchyards, etc. I at one point got permission to put them on the greenway, and then like 2 days later they came back and said, no, we're not going to do that. And I'm not sure if it's because of the spiritual content or they didn't like the design, but I couldn't, they were gatekeeping on that, so I didn't get to do that part of the project. Accepting invitations, collaborations. So this stipend we get from the city of Roanoke, I find it an excellent reason to say yes. People come to me, and I know they come to you with ideas and thoughts about how to do things. And instead of always having to go, well, what's your budget? Or what if you planned out for this or whatever? It's great to just dive in and do it. And if I need materials, I can call Doug and say, can we go to Joanne? but these are some of the ones. This Borough Hospital one, that one was wonderful. I was invited into that group that was planning Borough Day, and they're like, well, we want some kind of mural, but we don't know what we want. And I'm like, just listening to them and touring the facility with them. And I was noticing that people were going, oh, I had my tonsils taken out in this room. I know, because I remember the view of the mountain. And, oh, my brother was born over here in this part of the hospital. And it just went off in a bomb in my head. I was like, oh, we'll write on the hands what our connection is to Borough Hospital. And so we did that on Borough Day. And then they asked if they could, keep doing it, could they put more hands on it? And so they're still putting hands on it, so it's really grown, and it's just so cool. And Lamp was for the Lucy Addison Memorial Park, which doesn't exist, but there are some citizens in Gainsborough that would like to see that happen, and this was just a way to dream about it and put it in the Daisy Art Parade. They did not survive the start of the parade. The wind was so bad, they died. Follow your inquiries. So I write notes all the time. I went to a meeting that Polly invited me to at Washington Park 2021, and BJ and Hunter and all these folks are talking about Miss Amazetta, and I'm like, who is Amazetta? And so I started paying attention and kind of stalking her a little bit, and totally used the portrait project as a way to learn about her and then become her friend. So I'm so grateful for that. And I actually would love to do more of these kind of things. I think that they wove so many connections, including with the talks that Catherine did at at City Hall. It was just really good. All right, where are we at? Lots of just showing up. I say that all the time. It's just maybe you don't know what you're going to do, but accept invitations. Like Polly's really great about saying, hey, we're going to go do a fence weaving, or we're going to gather here and do this. And I'm getting better about inviting people. Katrina's been awesome. Robin's been awesome about that too. Just saying, let's go see what we can make together. And I'm real appreciative of that. I won't linger on the Hard Apples project, but I did want to just highlight Pablo Helvera writes in his book, Education for Socially Engaged Art projects that in a much more humble way offer a time and space for congregation and developing relationships also can serve an important role in helping diverse groups of people, neighbors, students, a group of artists, find commonalities through activities. And of course, we know that's true. We've seen it time and time again. Why are you not flipping? Now you'll go. So collecting campaign signs, I've used them for so many projects. They're not really good for much of anything else. Just wanted to point out on this, you see the two, can I use my pointer when I'm on here? The black background one and the red background one. A lot of folks ask me, like, why do you include those? They didn't even follow directions. Well, come to find out, the little girl who did those, the whole time she was doing them, she was like, I'm not an artist. I'm not an artist. And I'm like, holy cow, look at this. You're more artist than anybody. And it turns out that she actually had experienced homelessness. So she has strong feelings on this, And so, I didn't find that out till later, but at the time my instinct was that passion is important and it has to remain part of the project. And that set up Doug's nightmare. That was the worst at the War Memorial event, and putting those things in the ground. Oh my God, it was awful. Doug and Polly have helped me set this up, I don't know, 4 times now. Yeah.
I wasn't very good. I remember being compared to Mac about how Mac, because I couldn't get one of them out of the ground or in the ground or something as a post. And I knew Matt could have done it in like three minutes, and I spent half an hour on it.
That's so funny. And I did the project with my seniors over at Friendship, and I was amazed. Look at that line of them. They did those like in an hour. They just spit them out. I could barely keep up with those cows sometimes.
And if I could pause, if I could interrupt right there, I'm sorry. And Pat, I think Pat told me, I think it was Pat that told me at Friendship, how she has such trouble getting people to participate sometimes in the activities. But Jane brought the Student Heart Project for homelessness there, and they felt like they were doing something for other people. And that's why she got so much participation out of it. It was just really a powerful lesson, I think. Sorry about that.
No, not at all. Anytime you want to jump in. Soulbox project, I think most of you guys know all about that. I just wanted to have the picture of our friend Helen, because I know she'd have been here tonight.
Yep.
Daisy Art Parade 2023, loads of fun. This was the gun violence and the mental health one. And then we also had Evan Springs. But look at the makeup of Evan Springs in 2023, which is great. A lot of these were, some of these were draftees. But then you look at it in 2024 and it has changed significantly. We ended up having, I think, a total of 6 crews from Northwest. And a huge group of artists came together to work on these things. It was absolutely outstanding. Tahisha, Samel, Joy came. I don't want to miss anybody. Polly, of course. Just an amazing group. And as we're making this stuff with the kids, like there was, when they were making the dress, there's like turtles on the dress and seaweed and jellyfish. And some of the kids were making stuff and their mom came in and they're like, we gotta go, come on, let's go. And they were like, can we please take the material home and make it? And we're like, okay, so fixed them up, a little bag of goodies to take. And they, the next week, here come those kids with the mom. And the mom's like, they can't stay, but they made me come here and bring these turtles. And you can just imagine that conversation in that household. I'm going, I don't have time. The kids are like, we said we do it, So that was just so joyous. I cannot wait until next year. I don't know why sometimes these things don't turn right away. Of course, most of y'all know about the Empathy Project. That's one of my thorns. I feel like I haven't carried that through. Singing Tree at community school. This has me realize I need to change up my palette. This is the one we're currently working on in Northwest Roanoke, the Singing Tree of Resiliency. And, the difference between the community school mural and this mural, what would make your neighborhood safer, cooler, happier. And they're like, free of lockdowns at school, a whole house air conditioning, no more gun violence, and those weren't things that came up at community school because that's not their reality. So here's a little toolbox. Embody being an ancestor. What is your legacy? What will you be given to the future? Share the medicine, and psst, the medicine is love. Echo tuning into nature. What is your first memory of nature? You can journal about that. How did it make you feel? How did you carry that forward? What is your textile lineage? This is a rabbit hole you can go down for days. I just did a little bit of research into, Irish textiles and Czech textiles, and was amazed at how, like, I just those are the certain fabrics that I'm drawn to, and it's like it lives in my body, and I didn't even know it. So that's really an interesting thing. This is one of my journal puzzles. It's like, what is your rose right now? What's blooming for you? What is your thorn? What's sticking you? And what is your bud? What are you growing? Remember, empathy is the goal. It is the bridge to action. The work is about elevating asset-based love of place through the arts, celebrating at Promise community. Merging all the versions of you. This is something that I really stumbled on at first when I started pivoting to art. I was like, I'm scared to talk to people and I can't get in front of people. And then I'm like, what? You led a rock band for 25 years. What is your problem? And as soon as I was like, oh, come here, that Jane, I need you. So sometimes you separate your skills into different personas and it's all you just jam together. For me, once I identified my jam, my artist statement came together and my work and vision and my project started coming easy. I don't struggle with what do I draw? What do I make at all? Because I know what my mission is. My mission is to protect Earth and grow us all into a beloved community. And the work just keeps coming. This was an amazing opportunity to illustrate this book. I love Larry the Log Perch. And now I'm trying to stick it down everybody's throat. So this is at the zoo, the bottle cap one upper right, of course, the parade Larry. I recently got to do a coloring book for Virginia clinicians for climate action and got to stick in this beautiful unicorn who lives in a spring in Northwest Roanoke, and nobody caught me on it. So that's already gone to press because it's Evan Spring, get it? And I'm sticking Larry just anywhere I can to bring that message home. I'm just about done, you guys. I can get this slide. This is a 3-minute video. It's on my YouTube. You want me to show it or you just want to wait? Look later.
Whatever you want. Yeah.
I don't think I got time.
Well, okay. It's fine either way. Well, we've got 7 more minutes.
No, this
And-
thing
and-
is 3.
Okay, well, you choose. I can put the link in and send it out to everybody.
That might be better.
Okay.
But it highlights the kids' work. Nope. This is one that Polly and I are working on. We spent a day taking apart theater sets that Blue Ridge Nightmares was giving away to put together this vision that Polly's had for years of actually setting up a little mini village in Gainsboro to get people dreaming about what that could look like. And we sort of escalated it from maybe cardboard to these theater sets. So that's something we're working on. I'm thinking we're going to need some help on this because it's kind of big, but we did get them broken down and found a storage place for it. So that's good. I think that's just about my next to last slide. Yeah. Not yet. That's okay.
Shrinking by, can't you see? Shrinking by, it's me. All the colors there in the air. Grab you one down, it shows you care. Shrinking by, can't you see? Shrinking by, it's me. You're a different shade than me, but I love you sweet, so sweet.
And that's all, folks.
Gosh, Jane, that was amazing.
Jane Gabrielle is my superhero.
Me too.
I'm her biggest fan. She's amazing.
Are y'all
And
there?
can you hear us? Can you
Did
hear
I
us?
lose them?
Are you
Can
kidding?
you hear us, Jane?
Dude.
You gotta hear all this.
Everyone
Can you
stop
hear
it.
us, Jane? Oh, man, this happened to me earlier in the day.
I'm back.
Oh, there she is.
You
Jane,
hear
we're talking
us?
about how much we love you.
Oh, and I missed it. Damn it.
We just have to repeat.
You are a rock star, Jane, and I just think you're one of the most amazing people I've ever met. And that presentation just shined a light on that. And I just want to say thank you for sharing your light with us and all that you do. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, guys.
We're so lucky to have you in our community. You've done so
For
much.
real.
Yeah. Thank you.
I feel the same way about you guys. I am so grateful for all of you.
Hmm.
Jane, what I'm really amazed at, you just show me how art can be so simple and like, it's like the Mother Teresa's quote, like, do simple acts with great love, and that just comes through your work so clearly. It just provides a really clear path for other people to say, oh, we could do that. It's beautiful.
Awesome. Thanks, Sky.
I'm so inspired to just get back out in nature again because I do understand how healing it is. And I have to do more of that. I think I get caught up in the rat race of work and going home, but it's just putting your feet in the earth. It's just, it is very healing, Jane. And I thank you for bringing, like, just sharing your light. Seriously. Thank you.
Get back out there. It's good for you.
We should do one of these together by the river or something.
I was
Get
thinking that
connected as
too.
artists.
I was thinking we should have a potluck at some point in a park or something that we can actually like celebrate a little bit of our hard work together and just kind of connect in nature. That I would be up for that. I'll make deviled eggs.
I'm also over here looking up Cameroonian and Nigerian textiles because I'm trying to trace my textile lineage.
I love that question.
So thank you for posing that question because I'm really into fabric and fabric patterns, but I never gave a thought to my fabric lineage, my textile lineage. So thank you for opening that thought up. That's something that I would love to explore further.
I know you'll enjoy it. I'm just thinking Amazetta surely knows her textile lineage from top to bottom. You know what I'm saying? Because she's always like, she's got that going on. I was thinking it would be fun to do that an exercise like burning the winter witch or whatever. I hope you guys will go look at that video because my husband is filming it and it's pretty funny. I'm dressed like an old Czech lady and I decided to make it out of pine cones in a potato bag. And when I lit it on fire, the pine cones started flying out like missiles. Please try to keep the camera straight while I'm like walking away. Try not to go up in flames. It's funny.
Jane, what's your YouTube channel?
That's at Jane Gabrielle.
Okay. We all got some good watching ahead of us.
Yeah, and I'll post it with the video on the website too. So people can follow.
I just have to say, Jane, you are a hard-working woman to get all that done, and I'm in awe of your energy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That nature is working. It's keeping you. I don't know how you work at the pace you do, at the clip you do, building the relationships and the connections that you are making, because that takes time and it takes your whole self. You can't be at two places at one time and do that. So thank you. We admire you.
I'm really wondering how many people you work with in a year, Jane.
Yeah. I have no idea. I really don't.
Not to mention, you and I go way back. All the little kids' faces you've painted, who are probably coming up now, remembering that. So that's where we started out many years ago, touching people's lives in a sweet way. So,
and I think about when you look at social media influencers and everything these days, they say how many impressions did you get? How many people saw your content? They're big on impressions these days. Like how many people actually paid attention to your content for a certain amount of time. But I wonder if there was, I don't know that there would be a way to quantify how many people have been impacted by the work that you've been able to do, even in just the period of time that I've known you. But beyond that,
how many impressions, how much you've impressed upon the community through your work. And I just think that's amazing. Just looking at that slideshow.
I appreciate that, Robin. I mean, really, I mean, Catherine will tell you, and Polly will tell you, it's like I struggled for years, like wanting to be an artist, but was a musician. I did the band thing and did that for a really long time, but I always wanted to get back to the art, And so then I was a face painter, and that was great business for many years, traveling with the carnival. But then when COVID happened, I knew I wasn't going to be face painting, and I painted every single room in my house. And then the summer of 2020, the murder of George Floyd happened, and something went off, and I was like, this shit stops now. I have to do something, right? I got to do something. And not that I fixed anything as important as that, but that was the pivot to go get this socially engaged art degree and dig in, right? Dig in for Mac's grandkids, dig in for me, dig in for all of us, So it's really been since 2020 that I've started on this path, and I just love it. Love it.
Well, I remember stealing one of your posters from your band. So I think your social activism goes back longer than you give yourself credit for. I remember stealing it from downtown. And I'm like, well, the band's already played this date, so I'm just going to take it.
That's legit. That's allowed. Yeah. Wow. Jane, thank you so much for that presentation. Yeah. And I would love to keep doing these presentations, like this, turn over sessions to each of you if you're willing. So after this, just reach out to me if you're game to do it later in June or in July or August. We've got plenty of time. I'm willing to, I totally want to keep doing this as we kind of look ahead at what's next and kind of configure the grant dollars and such and figure out how we're going to keep doing I'm sitting here just going, there's no way we stop doing this work. There's no way. Yeah. Next week, we have a special project that Heather Marshall did last year, and that was under an Art Matters grant, and it was working with young people. She did some work at Coiner Springs with kids there. She worked with kids, put a kind of call out for youth arts workshop, and she worked with I think 8 or 9 different young people in creating art for the courthouse, for the waiting room of the juvenile and domestic relations waiting room. And they've been so pleased with that project. And that work is now kind of it's in the collection of the city, and it's going to stay on the wall. But they want to do a temporary show and do a project where it's kids who are in the court system in some way, somehow affected by the court systems. And so they want to do a project, and we'll hear from Heather Marshall, who developed the first project. She started thinking through the temporary project, and now she's gotten married and she's got a different job, and she doesn't think she's going to be able to do the project. But we're really interested in finding an artist who's willing to take it on. So we're going to hear next week from Heather and Judge Ferguson. And Judge Ferguson has been, they've been talking about this project to other communities or when they're out and about, the judges in their conferences and such, and she's really committed to it. So it'll be kind of an exploratory conversation. We'll learn about the project. There might be somebody in the group who's interested in it, or you might know of somebody who's a perfect fit for it. And so I think that'll be a really nice conversation next week. Before we wrap up, is there anything that we need to be doing this week? Things that are that you want people to show up for you, help you need?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first I want to say, I had to take a minute, just kind of study my thoughts in my heart. But I asked Jane, I was like, we were talking the other week at the block party. We were talking about the meetings. I'm like, I haven't been able to come. She's like, I'm speaking. I'm like, I gotta go. So, and wouldn't you know, it was just very synchronistic, like all the guidance I needed. Oh, it's art too. Right, about life. So thank you, Jane.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Juneteenth is coming up, and I'm doing a dance that reflects what's done usually in the community, in the village, and it's usually a village together, right? But it just turns out that I'm doing this dance alone again. So I know that many of you all will be there, and I hope that you come up to the stage. And even if you're not prepared to dance with me, that you still dance with. I might call some names. But I would love it, especially if I have several mentors that I know will be in the audience, mentors here today. And I would be very honored if you all would come and dance with me, or drum, or drum. You won't have to guess, we'll let you know when it's time for what, but that would be beautiful. Either way, I look forward to seeing everyone there.
Oh, great.
That includes you, Doug.
Oh, yeah.
Dancing.
Oh.
Mentoring.
Oh, yeah. I got to dance a little with you at the tall.
That was
joyful. It was joyful. Yeah. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you all for everything you're doing. Thank you for sharing tonight, and I look forward to seeing you out at events and activities, and we will see you next week at the same time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jane. Yay. Bye.
Bye.